Hi guys, on this show we've got Guinea, Jova, Lords, Logie, Wright, Christofferson, Dorf and Snipes. We're looking at 1998's Blade.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of 100 Things We Learned from Film. I'm one of your hosts, my name's Plenty, and I'm a day walker.
No, and I'm the other guy and I'm just here for the crack.
Ooh, I've got a crack for you, baby.
I bet you do.
And this week on 100 Things We Learned from Film, we are bringing on a long time get, and we finally got the get, Oodles from Modern Escapism.
Finally. I am here. I am hitherto.
You have ascended.
Yes.
It's Gadget's familiar.
No, it's mine.
Sorry, mate.
Oh, we're keeping that in. I was going to say he was the Blood Lord, but yeah, that's a bit more like it.
Okay.
Sorry, mate. He's in a mood already. Oh, man.
You
I broke the guest. I broke the guest.
Oodles, of course, from Modern Escapism, which means we've now got officially 4 of the 5 regular hosts of Modern Escapism on this podcast. As I've said before, we don't expect to get Candy. But what does tend to happen when we invite a guest on is that by just sheer fluke, someone on Modern Escapism slags me off the week before. And just listening this week to Modern Escapism, I've been dethroned. Now, regularly, you on your podcast, you weren't there, Oodles, so you're not actually to blame this time.
Thank you.
On your podcast, you often refer to me as Mr. Podcast Worldwide.
Yep.
But this week, I've been dethroned by that fucking prick punk.
Yeah.
Who is now apparently Mr. Podcast Worldwide. The lad's never even left Northern Ireland. How is that possible?
He's about as international as, I don't know, fucking nobody. He didn't even go anywhere.
He doesn't even leave his own town.
You're Mr. Podcast Worldwide, Panty. You can keep that.
I like to think so. Oodles, for those that don't know, tell the listeners at home what your podcast is about.
Modern Escapism is the quintessential procrastination podcast. It's all media-based. Basically, we were one of those, coronavirus podcasts. Oh. Yeah. We rose from the ashes of that. And we basically, every week, we get together, us 5, well, never usually all 5 of us, and we procrastinate. We tell you what we've been into, what we've been doing in popular culture, games, TV, films, books, everything. And we just review it, we chat about it, and we fill your backlogs. That's what we do.
Ooh. Chance to be a fine thing.
For me, we have a time.
Buy me a drink first.
and yeah, you mentioned that you were a coronavirus lockdown podcast, but I remember very, very famously the slogan at the time: "Hands, face, Biggie."
Yeah,
very much. So.
He was the toughest to be honest. He demanded so much money. He still does. It's ridiculous.
Well, that's because he's posh.
Yeah.
It's because he's into international rates.
Yeah, exactly. He's French, so...
Yeah. Listeners, if you like what we do, give us a follow. So go to our website, which is 100thingswelearnedfromfilm.co.uk. You'll find all of our socials there. You'll also find access to our Patreon. Our patrons, including Oodles, give us £1 a month and they get a shout out every episode. As well as lots of bonus features such as me reading gay porn.
So good. So good. Mate, I've had so much to that.
It's one of the most awkward things I've ever done. I couldn't even edge to it because it's just rubbish.
It works.
I wouldn't mind if it was good smut, but it really was not. And lots of different bits and pieces episodes of things. Very, very soon we have got something special to announce that John and I were hoping we would announce today, but it's not going to happen. Something's changed, but we have not just for patrons. Patrons will hear first, but we've got something very, very special coming up later this year that we want you all to get involved in one way or t'other. If you want to do that, patreon.com/100thingsfilm. Give us a quiz. We'll give you a shout out and we'll let you pick some episodes too. Okay. So for those that listen regularly, we're just about to go through the film. We're going to try and find out 100 things that we learn from this film. The film, of course, is what, Oodles? As if we haven't said yet. We're about 10 minutes in.
It's Blade.
Blade. John, what year?
Oh, 1980, 1998. Oh, see, you
1988.
got me doing it as
That
well.
would be a very
1999,
different
1998,
place.
1998.
Okay, and what else could we have been talking about?
There was actually loads. We've already been in 1998 already, but we're looking at The Mask of Zorro.
Oh,
Do I like that?
yes,
I
you
think
do.
I might.
You do like it.
Okay.
Yes, you do.
I don't
Pretty
like
face.
Catherine
Yes, you do.
Zeta-Jones, though, Oodles. I can't stand her.
No, but you like her to look at. She's very
the
talented
aesthetic.
and beautiful in
Sure.
that.
Sure.
The aesthetic.
Okay.
The Big Lebowski.
Oh, previous episode with Josh. Yeah.
Yep. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
I loved that. I think
it's
I've
a-
seen it too
The
many
beginning of
times.
that
That's a
film's
weird one.
great. It drops off a cliff.
Yeah, it really
Aye.
does. Yeah, can't stop here. This is bad country.
Mighty Joe Young.
Is that the monkey movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, Charlize Theron.
Okay.
Back in the
Oh,
day.
is that right?
And let's end on a high. Snake Eyes.
Yes.
Oh, Nicolas Cage. film.
Aye. Yeah. That's all right.
Yeah, that's an interesting mix. I'm sure. Obviously, Snake Eyes was the one that took home all the Oscars that year.
Oh god, aye. Still quite confusing, but I enjoyed it.
I like
But
it.
that was
Oodles, you-
1998.
You don't just talk films on your podcast, do you? You do games and stuff like that as well.
I love
Any
a game.
games for
1998, mate. Legendary. Get ready. Banjo-Kazooie. Half-Life. Baldur's Gate. Not 3, Planty. Don't get excited. We've got StarCraft. Grim Fandango. Metal Gear Solid. Resident Evil 2. Ocarina of Time. Zelda. What a year. Imagine being an adult then. Obviously, I weren't. I'm so young.
I was.
I was.
Yeah, me and John were.
I weren't.
Yeah, I've wasted so many hours of my life on Ocarina of Time. I've played through Ocarina of Time about 8 times. And listeners, you're not going to believe this. I've never finished it once.
I haven't.
What?
I haven't.
Water Temple's the furthest I've ever got.
Yeah,
Fuck the Water Temple.
I got an end of that and I never did it. But if it makes you feel better, I was 11 then.
No, that
No,
doesn't make me
it
feel
actually makes
better.
me feel
That makes
worse.
me feel worse. Yeah, exactly.
And now I'm closer to 40 than I'd like to admit. So, come on.
Yeah, you're closer to 40 than we are, Sunshine.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind.
It was Metal
right.
Gear for me. I was blown away with Metal Gear.
That was a
Metal
film.
Gear.
Yeah,
That was
so
like
was
a
I.
film.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
it was
absolutely
beautiful,
it was.
beautiful.
Snake! Yes. Oh, I still, like, there's so much good in that.
Yeah.
Like, every time I see footsteps anywhere, I go, whose footsteps are these?
Or going wing,
Yeah.
wing.
Yeah, that was so good.
Must be my imagination.
The codec call in that is my ringtone still to this day.
Is it really? Mine, funnily enough, my alert tone is Navi or whatever she's called.
Navi.
Navi, yeah, not Navi. That's the blue kitties.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
that's the blue kiss.
Fucking hell. Yeah. Look out! Every time, which is why my phone's on silent all the time.
Same. I've
All
just
the
realised
time.
that. So is mine.
Yep.
It's been my ringtone for like decades, and it's always on silent. Anyway, let's get into the film, shall we?
Let's go.
We open. It's a New Line Cinema film. I've got New Line Cinema as founded in 1967 by Robert Shea. Now, does that surname mean anything to any of you boys?
No, but I got that fact as well.
No?
But it doesn't. I don't know who he is.
Robert Shea's sister is horror queen Lynn Shea.
No
Out of
way.
all those the fucking Monster Made Me Do It films.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
The Conjuring and whatever. Yeah. The first feature film was 1977's Stunts. I said Stunts. We also have an Amun-Ra film. Anybody?
Yep.
Oh, is that the Mummy Returns? Amun-Ra.
Alan Raz, Wesley
Amun-Ra.
Snipes' production company, isn't it?
There you go. Fantastic. Yeah. I didn't have a lot on them. Of course, all the Blade films and loads of stuff I've never heard of.
Yeah.
But I absolutely love this one from 1998. Future Sport.
Yeah.
And here's the story of Future Sport. In the not too distant future, a new deadly sport is the only way to stop a war that will kill millions. Fix is the creator of the sport, but the spotlight has always been on Ramsey with a Z. Now this hothead must use the game to stop the revolution. Starring Snipes, Dean Cain, and would you believe it? I've saved the best till last. Vanessa Williams.
No way.
Ooh.
Listeners, Vanessa Williams song jokes. You don't get that anywhere else, do you? Joe James putting this on your radar for Hallmark of Greatness, by the way.
It screams that podcast.
I mean, Dean Cain for a start.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It just needs Kevin Sorbo, and it's
classic.
the hallmark of greatness triple. Okay, so we open up the film's brightest lit hospital in the world.
Yeah.
It's like if ER was filmed on the sun. 1963 is the line we get. Pregnant woman on a gurney has a bleeding neck injury. The doctor says, we'll have to do a C-section. She flatlines and this baby's born. C-section, lads, caesarean section is credited as being named after Julius Caesar. The University of Washington reports that some believe Caesar was the first one to be born via C-section.
I thought it was because he got stabbed with all his fellow men.
To Brute.
Whoa, chib chib. Chibba chibba.
Did you know, as well, I've got a nice fact. You know what that heart beeping is? You know what it's called?
All right, go on.
It's called the arrhythmia alarm. And it beeps for the... It's not if the heart stops. It's if it goes below a threshold that they've programmed in. Because everyone's heart rate's different, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh.
Fun fact.
Hey, how about that?
So entertaining. Entertaining. And 1 in 3 women are now, well, especially nowadays, 1 in 3 kids are cesareans because people are too push to posh.
Too push to
Too push to
John.
posh.
How many of them have you had?
Too drunk to have babies.
Too drunk to podcast. The name is derived from the Latin word sedere, which means to cut.
Yes.
There you go. You must have a basic grasp of Latin to come on this podcast.
Claro.
1967. Indeed.
Sorry.
1967 famous births, lads. People that we've covered on the pod specifically: Jason Statham, Julia Roberts, and Will Ferrell. Scottish folk that were born in 1967: History Boy and GB News nutter Neil Oliver. Torchwood nutter John Barrowman. And Tory scumbag and utter nutter Michael Gove. There you go.
There you go.
The Gove Meister.
I forgot you were allowed
He's
to
got a
mention
face
Tories
like
on
nothing
this.
I've ever seen. Oh yeah, we do politics on this one, Oodles, just because we don't on yours.
Fuck the Tories.
Every time I've said fuck the Tories, I get edited out of yours, or not invited back for another 8
Fuck
weeks.
them.
We now get the title says now, and I'm like, ooh, okay. Blade's pretty old.
2024.
It's 2024. The city at night. A woman in her car, surprising this bloke with a trip to what I can only assume is where Rocky does his training montage.
Yeah,
all
the
this
meat
meat
market.
hanging up.
Fun fact on this, on the abattoir.
Yeah.
Do you know who basically popularised the idea of vampires hiding inside abattoirs? Anne Rice.
Was it? Oh, there you go. I was going to say, was it Mr. Porky's pork scratching?
Not quite. But Anne Rice,
Right.
she was the first. And
That was
since
Rice
then,
Meister.
since Ricey had a go, everyone's been doing it. It's quite popular.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, I seem to remember there was a film where vampires lived. Was it called Vampire Land or something?
There was a Vampire Land.
Steak land.
State Land, that's
Yeah,
it.
that was all about. Yeah, that one. And then another one where there was vampires that lived in the subway that were like Nosferatu type vampires.
Yeah, and
all the other vampires. that lived
Daybreakers as
above
well.
were-
They had.
That's the one. That's
Yeah.
the one. Daybreakers.
Yeah.
That's the one I was thinking of. But yeah, that's all in abattoirs and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, Anne Rice.
Aye.
She was the
Blood
queen
banks.
of vampires.
Alright, okay. She's the queen of the damned, indeed. Well, should we recognise the actress here, by the way, taking him in?
Was that Tracy Lord?
It was Tracy Lords.
was.
And do we know anything about Tracy Lords, lads?
I know that she falsified her date of birth so she could do porn.
That's what I got.
Absolutely.
That's the fact I got.
That's all I know.
Lee actually was not born in 1967, but born May the 7th, 1968.
Yes.
Famously, all but one of her porn films have been banned as child pornography because she got work in the industry with a fake birth certificate. But what you didn't know is she's had 2 songs featuring films too. Love Never Dies in Pet Sematary 2. Nope,
What?
Me either.
Wow.
That's the Edward
Furlong? Yeah,
Furlong
yeah.
one. Yeah. And Control, which is on the 1995 Mortal Kombat soundtrack,
Great album.
What?
which it also sounds like the soundtrack to this, doesn't it?
Exactly the same. It's got
Well.
two of the same bands as well on it.
Oh, has it really?
Yeah.
It could have been a lot better because the Prodigy was offered to do the OST.
Well, that.
On this?
Aye,
Yes.
you got that as well.
Oh my
Yes.
god, that would have
Imagine
been
it.
funky shit.
Yes.
But they were right at the height of their fame, so they couldn't
They're
do
like,
it. So
they're
that was a
like,
shame.
nope.
No.
We've got enough money, thanks very much. Through the back of the slaughterhouse, there's this club. This guy that she's taken in, non-union Jake Busey, he's having a great time, isn't he? Until the sprinklers come on. And it's a vampire club! Whoa, with bloods coming out the sprinklers. Oh.
Can we talk about the song?
I would love to, yeah.
Yes.
Public Domain, Operation Blade. Probably the first tape I ever bought. That single.
Oh, right, okay.
One of, if not that one. Remember, 1998, guys. Public Domain. Do you know where they're from?
Oh, let's say
Scarborough.
Detroit.
Scotland.
Hey! I knew it started with an
They're
S.
from Ayr. So.
Oh, are they? Right, okay. The home of all the Eckies.
Yeah. And on top of that, I've got some vampire Scottish myths for you, really quickly. So,
Nice.
the most famous Scottish vampire is Bourbon Sith. And you probably don't even know him as a
Did he have a
Scot.
double-ended lightsaber?
Yeah, basically. But not to be dethroned by the West Lothian vampire, which was a real man in West Lothian that ate his friend because he was obsessed with Queen of the Damned.
Oh,
What?
Yes. Real man, still in
There
prison.
you go.
right, okay.
Troubled Scots.
The Scots. And the last fact is Bram Stoker really contemplated having Dracula go to Scotland instead of, was it Scarborough?
Oh, right. Whitby.
Whitby, that's it.
Whitby. Famously Whitby.
Because Scotland, famously, has no sun.
Exactly. We've got loads of abbeys though. Fucking Paisley Abbey.
And that's my Scotland
Sons of the bastard.
5 minutes.
There you go.
Oh,
Scottish.
thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Oh, that was nice.
John feels at home.
Where's yours planted? You never do a Scottish segment.
You don't care,
No,
mate.
I don't.
You don't care.
Absolutely. You're the Scottish segment of this podcast. I spotted loads of my favourite vampires, by the way, in this club. There was Nandor, there was Sparkly Edward, Old Smackhead Bela Lugosi, Blood Rain, George
Blood
Hamilton.
Rain, what?
They were all there.
What a pull.
That takes you back.
They were all there. Absolutely. Pull the string. Pull the string. Anyway. So I looked up, can you do blood out of sprinklers? But
It's too thick.
Yeah, exactly, because of course
I looked it up as well.
Blood is thicker
We
than
try
water. I couldn't find anything on it, but there was a rave in Amsterdam that did the blood thing back in 2015. I assume at least one person got Hep C.
I would have just
Let's
complained, like, look at my suit now, look at my clothes.
I know, yeah. I assume you know what you're going into.
Yeah, you
So
reckon
you
that'd be on the
turn up
flyer.
in a hazmat suit or something. Yes, on the flyer. It's like when you go to Ibiza and it's a foam party or something.
Yeah.
I fucking ruined my shirt now.
No.
May
My head's
contain
all
foam.
frizzy.
Yeah, so I never really got why they've invited him to this if they're going to eat him and then cover him in
In blood.
blood that's not coming straight out of the veins. Would that not be like getting a really nice cream cake and just covering it in carnation milk or something?
Well, it'd be more along the lines of getting an ice cream cake and putting out-of-date carnation milk on it because
Oh, I guess so, yeah.
it's out-of-date blood, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Is it exactly?
Yeah,
I feel like it fresh.
Indeed they do. The vamps get properly covered in it. It looks really good. Like, they look excellent in it. They don't just look like they're covered in shit that's fallen out the sky.
Aye.
The makeup's really good. They're about to meet the one guy.
Did you
and here
get
comes
his,
Blade.
did you get his name, by the way? That guy's name?
No, I absolutely
It's called-
didn't. I got the fact he was wearing a back-to-front Kangol hat, though.
Yeah.
I got that.
That's how you knew it was 1999.
It's called-
We've done Kango.
In the credits, it's called Heat-Seeking Dennis because he's got a heat-seeking missile in his pants.
Piss off!
That's what he's called. Heat-seeking Dennis.
Okay.
He'll never miss.
Exactly.
Blade's got this shotgun full of vampire incendiary bullets. He manages to murder a not inconsequential number of them, by the way. He's got bullets, knives, sunlight, and then he caves some lad's head in on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Which I was kind of like, I don't really get how that kills vampires, but yeah, sure.
I've got the price of that shotgun, by the way.
All right, excellent.
For all you gun nuts.
Yeah, well, there's plenty of them.
So it's a
I've got the pistols.
it's a Benelli M3 Super 90 shotgun. At the time, it retailed at $150.
Fucking hell.
Jesus
And it was
Christ.
$4 per slug. He also in
Slug. Listen to this.
Oh, yeah.
We've got an expert on, John.
Absolutely. And also he uses the Beretta N2 FS because it's the automatic version, isn't it? And that at the time cost $120 and $25 per case. Bullets.
But you could also get it free when you open a bank account.
However, he does use his very famous Mach 11 Uzi, the big one, and even then that retailed at $6,000.
Jesus.
Wow. So how were all these lads managing to do drive-bys?
I don't know. Cause
With a £6,000 pistol.
apparently, judging from the fact checking how we're doing, they deliberately do the automatic guns a lot higher, so people can't buy them.
Right.
But it's their constitutional right.
It makes you want them even more, though.
It does, doesn't it?
That's me just scrubbed all my gun facts, actually. All my gun
The
facts.
problem is, right? The problem is,
I had one job.
it's a very expensive gun, but the bullets are just 9mm, which are they're like $1 a bullet.
Yeah.
My bop, yep. Flesh wound.
The Benelli M3 Super 90 Oodles is also seen in RoboCop 2, Heat, and future episode Lockout.
Are you doing Lockout?
Oh.
We'll do Lockout one day, won't we?
Aye.
Probably with Paul Payne. That's got Paul Payne written all over it. Lockout.
That's a good
Great
film.
fun.
It's a good film.
That's good.
Yeah.
Underrated. Really underrated.
Once they empty out, the least scary type of vampire, the ginger type, which of course are even more likely to be killed by sunlight, shows up with his goons. This is Quinn. Now, I only know this guy from that terrible Gotham show that I watched 2 seasons.
No, I done Tao of Steve or something. I done a film years ago, and it was basically just his sex man.
Donald Logie was also in. He was in another sci-fi TV show. I can't on the lines of Farscape, but not Farscape, obviously.
Right. Okay.
But that kind of one and done series that didn't. He's always been in the periphery. He did some ER. He did some other stuff.
Oh, did he really?
Right.
All right. Okay.
But bit part, just turned up.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's one of the better things in this. He's got some pretty good scenes.
No, the production says he had hardly any talkies in it, but because he was so funny, they decided to give him more like dialogue.
He was also good friends with David S. Goyer, the writer.
Oh right, yeah. Well,
So that helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's dead easy. They head into this circular room, which I assume is the killing floor. Don't let the name fool you, Billy. It's more of a metal grate where the blood is able to sluice through. But Blade uses this brilliant throwing knife that curls around the room, killing 3 lads in one throw.
Krull.
And then staples.
It is a Krull, isn't it?
Very much so.
I couldn't find a name for his Blade thing, so I reckon he's just called Blade, and that's what he's got named
It's just
after.
Blade. Yeah,
Bye.
that's it. Yeah. It was the first toy that he ever had in his crib.
Boomer Blade.
Yeah. He sets Quinn on fire. Give Frost this message. It's pretty good.
Yes.
He checks the human guest's neck for bites, and then the cops burst in, and we see that Blade has vanished.
Yeah, it's gone.
Cut Stan Lee cameo here, lads. By the way,
Yeah,
the police
Gonna be
officer,
one
wasn't
he
it?
was one of the cops.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right. Yeah. In the hospital morgue, Quinn's corpse is brought in, and one of the blood workers, Curtis, checks the bloods.
I hated him.
His blood sugar's 3 times the amount, and phosphorus and uric acid are off the charts. Yeah, okay, all right, mate. He's dead. I don't think you need to worry about any of that. You know, like he delivers the line as if he's in the ER, doesn't he?
Do you know how these guys were supposed to be like professional doctors? Why didn't they notice that his teeth were? Because when you burn, teeth don't burn. We all know this.
Yeah.
But they discolour really easily.
Right.
They were white teeth. They were-
Yeah.
White teeth. They also hadn't noticed that he'd still got his trousers on when he makes a run for it later on.
yeah, it's like,
But
come
I
on.
guess we weren't spotting that on VHS back
That man
in
was
1990.
burnt to a crisp.
Production fact: he broke his jaw during that scene and had to go to hospital dressed like that.
Oh, what?
Dressed like that.
That's
Dressed like that, aye. So he was in the hospital, but like a burnt victim. But like,
Imagine that at A&E. What you in for? What does it look like?
Broke my jaw. Apparently he broke it before because he opened his mouth too wide and dislocated it.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Legend.
I was going to say, who keeps giving this lad work? But then his mate wrote it. So yeah, that's all right. Karen's the haematologist and his ex, and she doesn't believe this is about anything other than them getting back together. He promises it isn't, and then when they're checking the corpse over, he's like, "So what you're saying is I still have a chance?" It's like, fuck.
Hate him.
One in a million.
Yeah.
Still got a chance.
Plus, the pair of these characters have the worst hair of any film I've ever
what's
seen.
going on with his man?
Was this reshoots?
It seems like
It was
he
wigs.
looked like he had a wig on. Definitely.
Yes, defo.
100%.
And she just had a lot of silver crin on
Do you
her
know?
hair.
He reminded me of the boyfriend. And remember Terminator 3?
Oh, mate.
And then the boyfriend, just that kind of vibe about him. You're like,
Is
yeah,
that-
wee prick.
Is that not Eric Stoltz?
No,
No, not in
I think
3.
it's Eric Stoltz. No.
it's just a wee insignificant guy, and he had that Motorola 8210. That's
did.
what I remember.
Fucking hell, John.
Back in the day, big man.
Let's not get us into phone chat.
No, let's not.
Oodles will be banging on all night.
Yeah. Do you need a new phone, John, by the way? I can sell you one.
Yes.
Still, at least we don't have to look at any Curtis any longer here, because Quinn jumps up, grabs him, bites his neck, before lunging at Karen and doing the same. He's chowing down on her in the hallway, and Blade shows up and just punches him in the face.
How
Chowing
slow
down.
does he show up, though? He's like walking really
I know.
slow.
Yeah.
Like, why is he standing at the end? He just stands
He's
at the
not
end of
bothered.
the-
He's not bothered.
Karen's
I'll wait.
viewpoint, and he's just like, yeah, I'll get there.
I'll check
get
if he
there.
is a vampire first. Oh, yes, he is.
Oh yes, yes.
He slices through his arm, and we get our first, he's got an arm off!
Yeah.
And then
got
Quinn
red
makes
on
a
you.
run for it. Before Blade can follow, these security guards shoot at him, just hitting his really awesome body armour. And the line here, Oodles?
Come on, remind me.
Motherfucker, are you out of your mind?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. And he said it
I
right
love
jovially.
motherfucker, are you out of your mind?
He says it right jovially, doesn't it? Like
does, yeah.
Simon Phoenix.
Yes, he does. Oh my god, yeah, what a great film that is. by the
What's
way.
your boggle, boy? What's your boggle?
Previous episode. In fact, motherfucker, you have been fined 1 credit. He picks up Vanessa just as the cops arrives. He runs out the door and jumps out the window and across to this neighbouring rooftop. But he basically picks her up and just hoys her across the rooftop, doesn't he?
yeah.
Breaks her
Just
shoulder.
And then he's absolutely astonished when she's got a dislocated shoulder.
Also, this is the first reveal that it's clearly set in New Orleans.
Oh, right. Okay, how did you spot that?
Because there was the New Orleans Stadium in the background.
Oh, right. Excellent.
I just spotted the map later on.
There is a map as well, but
There's a map.
it's downtown New Orleans, and it's not the New Orleans we always see. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because you always see it
Bibs-
from
Bibs for
ground
beads,
level, don't
Bibs for
you?
beads.
Or the-
Yeah, we
Bourbon Street.
Exactly.
the
We always
French
see the
Quarter.
Mardi Gras French Quarter, but
Yeah.
no, and New Orleans very much looks like New York City as well in places. Very gothic.
It certainly does, yeah. Except they've got a lot more newspapers whirling around in the street in this film.
Oh, God,
What's
aye.
that about?
I
What
was
was
expecting the
that
Terminator to appear any time. Like, what the fuck's going on?
I hate watching anybody fix a dislocated shoulder. Either of you dislocate a shoulder?
Twice
Never.
in the same week. Fun fact about this that I learnt when I dislocated my shoulder twice. I was specifically told not to pop it back in place because if
Right.
you do that, you can trap a nerve and never recover.
can. That's right, yeah. I heard about that. So, listeners, listen to Oodle and not listen to what I'm about to tell you, because if you don't have a doctor or a day walker to fix you, this is how to do it yourself if you really must.
Oh.
So, the first thing that I read here, as it says,
Are you on
relax.
WebMD?
Pretty much, yeah. I read it and now I've got AIDS. Relax. Reach your arm over your head.
Yes.
Touch your hand to the bottom of your neck. Reach for the opposite shoulder. And the shoulder should pop back into place.
Yes.
Now, I love that it suggests that you can fucking relax when your arm is hanging off.
Yeah.
It's the
And then it
worst
says,
pain
It
ever.
should. Oh, mate.
Do you know how heavy your arm is when it's not attached to your body?
Oh, I don't want to know.
It's very heavy. Awful.
They head down this stairwell under a hail of bullets, and Blade drives Karen back to his hideout. which I think is in the same rail yard as where Clarence's dad lives in True Romance.
It looks like it, doesn't it?
It's absolutely where it looked like.
It really does. And which
that
So
means
much
you're
fucking.
True Romance is set in New York,
eggplant.
isn't it? It's New York True Romance at the beginning, isn't it?
Yes, I think
Aye.
so. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah. Man, that bit with Walken in it is
so good.
so good.
It's,
Because you're watching it and
blows
you're
your
going, I
mind.
know exactly what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
And then it goes past the point and you think, I think he's going to be all right.
Yeah.
He's going to make it. He's going to make it. He's
recruiting him.
Okay.
Become best pals.
And then he gets blammoed,
He
did
does
he?
get blammoed.
So, yeah, we meet Whistler, Chris Christopherson, bringing home strays now.
Abraham Whistler. Do you know where his name's
yeah.
from?
No.
Abraham, obviously.
Yeah.
Lincoln. Whistler.
Yeah.
Famous art piece.
What's his mother?
Hey, hang on a second. If this is Whistler, how fucking old's Whistler's mother?
Very bloody old.
Old enough
Yeah,
to know better.
that's
Alright.
obviously in the Marvel universe, in the comics, because I like a few comics now and again.
Yeah.
He was the man in the chair. The famous
He was
man
very
in
much
the
the
chair.
man in the chair. Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah. Whistler tells Karen he's going to inject her with garlic, which looks like it hurts. Nothing to do with being a vampire. I just bet it fucking knacks.
And your sweat
Oh,
stink.
good eye.
Oh, well, mate, my sweat stinks anyway.
Yeah.
That's fine.
That means you're human, Planty. Don't worry.
All right. Oh well, that's. I'm not a synth. That's good news.
So garlic's meant to lower cholesterol, but there's no
is.
proof.
Right. Okay.
There's no
just
medical
makes me
proof.
stink.
Brilliant.
Your garlic bread's meant to higher cholesterol.
Garlic bread.
Garlic and
With
bread.
bread. She's still alive.
I'm a little blind boy. What happens if you inject garlic into the bloodstream? I googled, and I got possibly my absolute fact of the episode. Listeners, lads, listen to this because I say fact, and I'm going to use that term very casually here. But I found an article, and again, article inverted commas, from improbable.com. The title of it is "Self-tested!" ! Wow. Intravenous garlic juice herpes treatment. Brackets, new patient. Close brackets.
Dead patient.
I read a whole paper on this, and again, paper. And I boiled it down to one paragraph of bits I'd kind of cut out of it. Before the injection, the inventor had acute herpetic gingivitis on the left side of his hard palate with soreness. The inventor noticed the associated burning and pain were gone within 6 hours of the injection. And 2 days after the injection, the inventor was asymptomatic.
Wow.
The inventor experienced vertigo with unknown etiology for several years before the injection. The inventor noticed a gradual decline in his vertigo over 3 months after the injection. And the vertigo was completely absent 3 months after the injection. Where to fucking start with that? You two
It's
are
quicker
just,
to have a course of antibiotics to cure that.
you would think so. I
I
mean,
thought you were trying to do her flick of the Gestapo there. I was like, what the hell?
I was von Smallhouse. Take it with a pinch of garlic salt, but fuck me with a herpes-infected palate. That's
Fuck
stupid.
that.
What? I mean, you know when you because for this podcast, listeners, I Google a lot of shit. I must be on so many registers.
Yeah.
But
I'd love to see your history.
Oh.
no, you wouldn't. My question is, who's paying the bandwidth to host that article?
That is a good question. That is a good question.
That's got InfoWars written all over it, hasn't it?
Yeah.
They're turning our frogs gay with garlic injections.
I think you have to put a disclaimer. We don't recommend any of your listeners to inject themselves with garlic paste or garlic
Yes.
mayonnaise or anything garlic
Yes.
based.
Just the bleach.
No, especially not
just
if
the
you're
bleach.
lactose
The bleach should be fine. Just the bleach. Get the bleach in
Is there
there.
any way we can get the bleach inside? Oh, fucking hell. Or the light. Do you remember we were getting light inside us at the
No,
time?
aye.
Jesus Christ. Oh, there's a film here somewhere.
Good film.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely great. One of the better films we've watched in the past year.
It really is.
He says, I'll give a 50-50, does Whistler, and walks off to listen to his Creedence Clearwater Revival tape.
So he says.
Now,
It does.
we've done Bad Moon Rising on American Werewolf, so that's out. But here's some fucking facts for you about this band. They started out in 1959 as the Blue Velvets. Daddy wants to fuck.
Daddy wanna fuck.
It's been a while since you got a Daddy wants
really
to fuck.
has,
Innit?
Jesus, that's been a long time.
It's been probably a year. And in 1964 became the ill-titled The Gollywogs.
Yeah, I remember that.
Thankfully, they changed the name in 1967. Creedence Clearwater Revival had 5 singles in America, which all peaked at number 2. No other artist has had so many number 2 singles without ever topping the charts.
Wow.
Oh, really?
I know, it's pretty
You
good.
call them the best runners-up ever.
Yeah, is it like that episode of The Simpsons where Lisa's playing along with Oates and Garfunkel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the secondary acts.
Yeah, Oates. Yeah, the other
That's
guy.
right.
Poor Garfunkel. At least he's got bright eyes. It's because he's been injected himself with
Nice.
garlic, I think.
Did you know who they wanted to play Whistler originally?
No.
Is it Patrick McGoohan? Is it him
Oh,
for The
really?
Prisoner?
From The Prisoner?
They really liked The Prisoner and wanted him to play it.
I tried to also Google a few Chris Christopherson facts, and I don't know how factual this is, but someone said he bathes twice yearly. But looking at him,
As often as that?
yeah, twice yearly he bathes. He's gone on record to say it.
Jesus.
He's a scruffy-looking bloke, to be fair.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But then he's country music star, and so they are.
Yeah.
Winner of 4 Grammys and 6 country music awards. But no major acting awards, although he's got 87 film credits on IMDb.
Was he originally in Star Is Born? Was it him? The original one?
Yes, it is, yeah. He
Barbra
is.
Streisand.
Yeah.
He wasn't
There you go.
scruffy in that.
He wrote a song for Janis Joplin and it was a number 1 hit.
So he's
All right,
success.
excellent.
Aye, but
Yeah,
somebody else.
looking through his past, he was handsome, and then whatever happened to him happened.
It's because he was on that
sun-leathered.
big old convoy across the USA.
Ducky!
Convoy!
Thumb damaged. Yeah, he's definitely not a vampire, is he?
No.
No, absolutely not. At the Vampire High Council, they're going through photos of this massacre. Blades known to them. They send for Deacon Frost. Hello, good evening, and welcome. Oh no, hang on, that's David Frost. It's very different people. They're not best pleased with him though, because he's this nightclub owner, and he seems to have a chain of these nightclubs. Would you say that's right?
Yes.
Aye.
So indulge me here, lads. Is Deacon Frost the vampire Peter Stringfellow?
Yes. They also make note that he's flaunting himself around and that he's a half-breed. So,
Yeah.
fun
A
fact on
muggle?
the...
The Mudbloods.
He's a mudblood. So this Council of Erebus, the purebloods,
Airbus.
they're all from the comics, by the way. Deacon Frost is in the comics, but in the comics, he's wearing a Nazi uniform and he's an old man. They changed that for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah, the Council of Erebus, which is the god of Evernight, Greek god. More facts for you. And the language they speak is a mixture of Russian, Hungarian, and Klingon.
Gosh. Oh.
What?
Yes.
Dokcha.
Yeah.
Love that.
Jesus Christ. Okay, well, fair enough. I did make a couple of notes, lads, because I couldn't help myself, about the real-life Deacon Frost.
Yes.
Not the Nazi, but the Peter Stringfellow club owner.
Yes.
In 1962, the King of Clubs ran club nights called the Black Cat Club in Sheffield at St Aidan's Church Hall.
I know where that is.
Yeah, there you go. This prick had more clubs than Tiger Woods, including Blue Moon, Cinderella's, Rockefellers, and the inspiringly named Cinderella Rockefellers.
Hey. Bring
The
them
Millionaires Club, and of course Stringfellows, which opened in 1980.
Is he dead? He must be dead.
He
Oh,
died
yeah.
about 5 years ago. I sadly couldn't find any facts about his Barnet, which is still alive somewhere. In
Apparently,
a
it's got its own. It's got its own like life force. It wanders around Soho and stuff like that.
box. Like when,
Attacks
it's like
people.
when Homer got that hair transplant.
See how tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
back to the Voltari or whatever the fucking over-serious wankers are called.
Yeah.
Frost telling them that they should be eating humans, not making deals.
Yeah.
Udo Kier's character isn't happy about this. He reminds Frost that he's a mudblood, where the rest of the group were all born vampires.
Doesn't he always look like he's crying him, doesn't he? In every film.
He does, yeah.
So
yeah,
sad.
Does.
I was always thinking.
Yeah.
He storms out and they discuss any other business, which includes offshore accounts.
Yeah.
And, of course, diversifying into crypto. Crypt. Oh.
I got it, mate.
Crypt.
You didn't have to elaborate. That was just funny.
Did you write that down?
No,
Did you write it?
The listeners didn't get it. So I get my coat. It's fine. We see Blade, who's gone to Razor Cult Books, I think. Hello, Razor Cult Books.
Yeah. He's gone to Travelling Man.
Jesus. In the Corn Exchange.
Yeah. I'm glad you got that reference.
I did. He's come for some serum from this Black Panther lad who's wearing a Cosby sweater. I said a Cosby sweater.
Yeah, you never see him again, do you?
You don't.
Go on.
Apparently, this is what stops turning him full feral, and he's becoming resistant to it.
Yeah.
At his place, Karen wakes up, and we see that his room is basically where I think Steven Seagal lives when he's in Russia.
Yeah. I've got a fun fact about his plant.
Oh, okay.
Oh, go for it.
Let me find it. 1 second. I've got a lot.
We have this a lot. We have this a lot.
Where is it?
You can never find your bloody notes, you.
Can never find my plant. She's downstairs watching the telly.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yes, so his plant is the ersatz hybrid plant. This is a good fact. It's a hybrid plant because of Blade's hybrid nature as a Dhampir, which is a day-walking vampire. It's the mixture of a Dracana and a leucospermum plant. There you go. And it's used in Buddhist rituals. Blade's a Buddhist.
Oh, he is.
There you go. Botany. Cool. That's all you need.
Botany facts with Oodles.
Blade botanist.
She's basically wandering around touching all his stuff.
She's
really
like
a child,
I know,
isn't she? And she nearly gets her hand got off this spiky handled sword.
His peg
thing.
sticker.
Funny, stupid thing about this blade as well. It's called the Daywalker, obviously.
Okay.
It's got vampire glyphs on it that lets vampires know that it's booby trapped, but they never read it.
Do not touch.
Do not touch, basically.
Apparently, it was Whistler's old
yes. Yeah.
sword.
All right.
Yeah, it is.
Look at you, lot law boys.
Just been reading comics all week, haven't we, John?
Yeah. Do you want to know more? Do you want to know more?
In the workshop, Whistler's been Googling her. Or info seeking or lycosing, whatever the fuck we were doing in 1999.
98.
And do you remember people used to actually write? 98, of course. People used to actually write a question to Jeeves when all you had to do was put keywords in.
Yeah.
How stupid were we?
That's because of the silly adverts
just
that they had with that butler.
We were just naive. Aye.
Ask him a question.
Ask me a question.
Yeah, always I put a question mark on the end. You never needed to do it.
I don't think I've ever put a question mark on the end of anything when I'm Googling.
Not once.
No. Just www.
Pornhub.com.
HTTP.
Go on, backslash.
Yeah. Whistler knows she's a haematologist and that she could come in useful. Blade sat in this dentist chair. It's basically like Gaza in Hong Kong before Euro 96, isn't it? However, man, give us that Deer Walker juice lake. Whistler, man, pet.
It's
man,
Canny
lake,
Moorish, man.
And he injects Blade with his super happy day walkery juice.
Yeah.
And then recall kicks in. Oh, remember I'm not.
Yes, very much.
Get out of Mars.
Recall.
They catch Karen lurking, and they basically sit her down and tell her that they're vampire hunters. She doesn't believe them, and Blade's line of "You met Mr. Crispy at the hospital."
I mean, the fucked up thing is, right? She's wandering around a person's house where two people live, touching the stuff, looking at all that stuff. They've got all those weapons. They're either terrorists or vampire hunters.
Terrorists or vampire.
Yeah.
So it's not. She's not. You shouldn't be as surprised as Karen is in this. She'd be like, there you go. Yeah, that makes sense. Vampire hunters.
What if they flew a plane into the vampire twin towers?
The towers of Erebus.
Yeah, absolutely. Into that, wherever they end up.
That's underground
At the
though,
end of
so
the
it'd have been
Yeah.
a tough
A tough
target,
flight,
that
aye.
one.
Absolutely. Is it not the end of the Zack Snyder cut of the Justice League? Where they're in the desert
Yeah. Oh god.
with the Joker? Oh man. God, I feel a little bit sick just remembering that.
When are you doing that on the podcast?
Never.
This is we said we'd never do a superhero film, and here we are.
I know.
now-
It's not in the
Started it
MCU,
on.
so don't worry. It's not in the MCU.
No, I know, but now all I can think is it time for us to do X-Men First Class? Because X-Men First Class is a great X-Men
It's a
film.
very good X-Men film. Very
And
good.
it's got
great
historic references. It's got a great cast.
It's also 2.5
And it's not
hours
got-
long. You don't do long films.
Is it?
Yeah.
So when, by the way, listeners, when Oodles said we'll do this, I was like, yeah, absolutely. We'll like back last year. I said, yeah, absolutely, we'll do it. When I put it on earlier this week, and I saw it clocked in at 2 hours, I died a little bit inside.
I thought it was a lot
because
quicker.
I thought, oh, not 2 hours, not 2 hours.
It has got
there's gotta be a-
20 minutes of credits.
Nah, true.
Yeah, yeah. More on that later. We learned from Whistler that crosses don't work. Water, they can cross water anytime they want. Where the fuck did that one come from?
Dracula.
by the way?
I know.
You know, like, here's a bit of water, you can't cross
You've
it.
not read
Okay.
Bram Stoker's Dracula. Dracula could
No,
not.
I have, but not since
He couldn't
not
cross
since I was 11.
running water, so he could cross an ocean, but he couldn't cross a river
What?
Right. Or a beck.
or a beck. Yeah, a dike.
Garlic, silver, sunlight, and UV light does. Blade gets kitted out with this massive UV lamp, which looks like he's off down the vampire pit, doesn't it?
Nah.
Could you make it any smaller? Because you're a big guy.
It is. It's huge, and it's just like it's like when you get when you get like a big two-handed weapon in a game, and it just slows
It's just
you
cumbersome,
down
aye.
completely.
He's a big guy.
Whistler tells her to leave town. They're all onto her, but the vampires won't give up until she's dead. He gives her what he calls vampire mace and tells her to buy a gun if she starts
It's
squinting
garlic
at the sun and
sauce.
getting hungry.
Very much, aye. Get it for your
Garlic
Papa
sauce from
John's.
my local chippy. Blade drives her home. At Vampire HQ, Udo Kier, he's called Dragonite or something.
Yeah,
Called
Dragonetti.
Jeff Dragonite.
Draconi or something.
Dragonetti. So he's Italian as
he
well.
He catches Frost in the archives trying to learn the ancient vampire language, but apparently it's long forgotten.
Yeah.
He's basically got this computer
Doing
program
scanning
doing all the
everything,
work
I
for
know.
him. And I'm not entirely sure why he sat there reading it when it's quite blatantly doing it all himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does
It's
have a
just a
moment where
quick time
he's sat
video.
there on his Zune as well, doesn't he? Listening to like house music.
Man, Zoom.
Having a great time.
When Blade gets her home, for some reason the city streets are covered in newspapers, as I've mentioned.
Again.
It must be litter training dogs or something.
It's
I'm
just
not sure.
disgusting.
It is. It's awful. In her building, Karen spots two people waiting for the lift in front of her with these identical neck tattoos.
Glyphs, yeah.
As she gets out, they follow her down the corridor, and she turns around to see they've vanished into another
Yep.
apartment.
And then there's Kevin Spacey running up with a camera. Fuck you, man!
In her flat, she's packing her bags as this cop enters. She left the door open. He explains Curtis died, but don't worry about that, okay? Because you're about to die too.
It's a bit
She
bad.
sprays him in the face with the vampire mace, and he's like, "What is this? Garlic?"
Mayo.
Blade turns up and tells us he's not a vampire, he's a familiar. Not you, Guillermo.
Mi familia.
Now, guess what? It's time for my top 3 vampire familiars in
Oh,
film.
All right,
right.
okay.
Cool.
Go for
In
it.
at number 3, Bella Swan from Twilight.
Hang
Oh,
on a
no, that's
second.
not a fucking
doesn't
vampire
count.
She's a
movie.
familiar. She's obsessed with him. Number 2, R.M. Renfield from Dracula.
I'll give you that.
Yep.
Yep,
And number
definitely.
1, Guillermo de la Cruz from What We Do in the Shadows. I'm telling you, Bella Swan's a familiar. She does everything that chuffing vampire tells her to do.
She does, and he's awful. Listeners, we're never going to do that, but if you want to listen to another podcast that we love, friends of the podcast, talking about all of the Twilight films, one after the other, Mono Rants are doing it at the minute, and Mono is having a fucking hell of a time. It's brilliant.
Do you know I've only seen the last film in that saga? Literally, just the last
the second
one.
film.
Oh, that's the best one.
The second film is just
Because it ends.
her crying for
I
an
fucking
hour.
hated that, man. I'm
just
just
can't-
glad
I
it
can't-
didn't change any of
bring
them.
myself
man
to
who's-
do it.
As a man who's caused a lot of women to cry in bed, that does very little for me. Anyway, back to this one. The tattoo on the neck is a brand, and it says that he belongs to Deacon Frost. Blade robs him of his watch, and she isn't cool with this. He's like, "How do you think we fund this? We're not exactly the March of Dimes." The March of Dimes, from their website, began in 1938 with President Franklin D. Roosevelt's personal struggle with polio. Marco Polio led to the creation of the National Foundation for Infantile Paralysis, better known as the March of the Dimes, which is a lot more of a catchy name. We pioneered the vaccine research leading to eradication of polio in the US, and later expanded our mission to address issues of birth defects. In most recent decades, our mission shifted to focus healthy pregnancy and ending the preterm birth crisis, which innovations like folic acids, newborn screening, and surfactant therapy, whatever that is. Every year, though, they do 2.4 thousand patient visits through their mobile health centres. For me, it's a great non-profit, and American listeners, you can donate at marchofdimes.org.
Yes.
Of course, they didn't pay us to say that.
Take your folic acid, ladies.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's obviously how they rob to fund their vampire hunting.
Yep.
How do we fund this podcast, John?
By robbing.
Robbing the patrons. That's absolutely right.
By selling tat.
A shout out to some of them: Candy, Stig, Biggie, Gadget, and some arsehole called Oodles.
Scumbags.
Vampy Rob Jones of Records and Bands. Dan and Gavin, Be There with Belson. Hallmark of Greatness is Joe. SP Film Viewers. Aaron from Z1 Podcast. Josh Wilson of Super Familiar with the Wilsons. Punk from What the Fuck Do You Want? Prick. Ian of Cult Connections. And Mono and Kira. Thank you very much for your money.
You've got a right army, haven't you?
It's getting there, mate. Yeah, it's getting there.
Militia. It's more of a militia.
Cult.
Little vampire army. Downside is that the Rolex is fake. He's not very happy about that. At the squad car, we see that the boot is full of blood bags. He refuses to tell them where he was heading with it, and he escapes after Karen stops Blade from shooting him. If you want to stay alive, you have to learn to pull the trigger. That night, stalking out Krieger's squad car, we see him returning back for it. He makes a call on the radio to clear out the clinic as Blade is coming. Now, I love the way this is shot, because it's sped up, but it's not in fast forward. It's almost kind of animated.
It's like the
up.
background.
It's so cool.
It's like the background's slower than the foreground. It's really strange how they did it. It's cool because it gives you like an ambience. You know what I mean?
Nice.
It's really strange.
Yeah, it's really fun. Blade explains that this club is a vampire club.
Yep.
He can tell by the way they move and smell that they're vampires. And she's like, "Oh, loads of vampires. There's worse things out there tonight, like me." So cool.
He's such a flirt.
I know.
He really is. He really
Go on
is.
the chat.
He does this. Okay, Vampire Anatomy 101. Crosses in holy water don't do dick, so forget what you've seen in the movies. Use a wooden stake, silver, or sunlight to kill them. You know how to use one of these? And he hands her a gun. Safety's off. Rounds already chambered. Silver hollow point bullets filled with garlic. You aim for the head or the heart. Anything else, it's your ass. It's just so cool.
It is
He's
pretty
really good.
cool.
And he's got no lines. Like, that is almost the most he says in that entire film.
Yeah. It really is.
This doorman stops him. Smash cuts him just getting kicked through this glass pane into the club. Inside, it's full of vampire Asian businessmen watching Japanese schoolgirls perform on stage? Question mark.
They're 400 years old, mate. It's allowed.
Oh, okay. That's the old Edward Bella thing, isn't it? Like he's a 119-year-old virgin.
He's not a nonce.
But he was turned when he was only 16.
Yeah, forever 16.
But that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Try that in a court of law, mate. Blade spots Krieger and starts throwing him around the kitchen. He tells him the entrance to the club is in this fridge, and he just refuses to believe him. He's like, "No, it's in the fridge." And when he opens the fridge, some steps down. It's like where Apu gets into his roof garden behind the non-alcoholic beer. What happens if someone wants non-alcoholic beer? Do you know it's never happened?
Did you notice something weird about the kitchen? It's got loads of food in it, and it's a vampire club.
Oh right, okay.
It's got chefs.
Maybe they're not all vampires.
Maybe the familiars are getting fed. Yeah.
Maybe it's like that TV show, Cake or Death or whatever that's called on Netflix. Is it cake or is it a real thing?
Cake or Death. I'm sure it's not called Cake or Death.
Jump on that steak. Is that a steak?
And it explodes into just blood.
Yeah, maybe. But maybe they're feeding the familiars to fatten them up. Maybe, who knows? But it's weird.
Oh, possibly. It's
weird. I just noticed it. It's not a fact, guys. It's just weird.
Aye.
He says, "Give Frost a message from me. It's open season on all sockheads."
I love that. I love it so much.
They head into the fridge, down the stairs, and into the archives. This is what I assume all mainframes look like in real life, by the way.
One at my work looks
just
exactly
loads
the
of
same.
boxes with LEDs on. You know, like the box that's got the internet on it with the blinking light and the LG crowds. At Frost's apartment, he's in his bedroom doing translation on his laptop. And when it's complete, it all of a sudden becomes the Lawnmower Man.
Do you know what laptop it was?
No.
Apple MacBook PowerBook G8, baby.
All right, good spot.
Yeah.
Imagine having to do a fucking Windows 95 puzzle game before you can get into your bed.
I don't like how the frame rate was so good on that old computer.
Yeah.
That was 60 FPS.
I think we beefed it up.
Yeah. That's a gaming laptop, that.
That was the Alienware back then.
He's been playing Doom and stuff on that, hasn't he? Half-Life.
Quake 2. Deacon gets a call and told there's someone here to see him. It's Krieger. He's explaining that Blade is onto them, but he can still get the girl. Frost rips his neck out and throws his corpse into this infinity pool.
Yeah.
Shouting to Quinn that he wants Blade alive.
I tell you what, though, Krieger's makeup for being absolutely braided by Wesley Snipes is incredible. His skin's all yellow and fucked up.
Back at the record archive, we meet Pearl, right, who looks after the mainframe. Now, I couldn't quite figure out, because I love a backstory. I wanted to know more about what Pearl's story was.
I know.
Oh, right, go for it. Oh.
Pearl is now not allowed in the Marvel comics anymore because of his backstory in general. Pearl is that big and fat because he exclusively eats children, which has the highest sugar content of all humans.
Oh, man.
So he's got vampire diabetes.
He's Edward out of Twilight.
Yeah.
He has under 16.
Yeah.
But it's all right because he was turned when he was
exclusively.
Yeah,
they don't have him in Marvel anymore. But again, a fun fact with that suit:
why.
that suit is 3 people, 1 on each arm,
All
and
right.
the guy in the head.
Jesus.
Wow. I mean, that's funny because so am I. Wow. Okay.
But yeah, he eats kids.
I like
Kid
that.
eater.
That's the kind of thing. That's the kind
That's
of
the
thing.
fact you want,
That's the
innit?
kind of thing you
That's
like.
what you
That's
want.
the kind of thing that you would expect in a Neil Gaiman, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing you'd expect in
yeah.
a Hellblazer or something like that.
Yeah, some kind of like demon of lust or some. Yeah, it's disgusting, but yeah, he's not in the Marvel canon anymore.
Oh well.
Oh, well.
Fair enough. He's a big lad, as you said, and I love the insult. He says, "Oh, what's that you've got there? That biscuit boy
Biscuit
is a UV lamp, and you're going to give me some answers. It's not okay to fat shame this giant."
He's not just fat, mate.
vampire.
He's flat.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. He gets burnt a fair bit until he gives up the info, and because he ends up looking like a Findus crispy pancake.
Yeah.
Pancake boy.
The line is, "La Magra, the Blood Baron, is coming."
Yeah.
Frost needs some virgins or some MacGuffin shit. I don't really know. Blade blows the door into the archive proper, where the ancient scrolls are kept. The line is something like, "Look, hold this, and if he tries to move,
Burn them.
fry him."
No.
And he just says something, doesn't he? Pearl says something.
He's
and
just
she
talking.
absolutely just,
Aye.
she sets fire to him.
But she's got
and
that
when he
look
turns
of
around-
disgust on him, hasn't she? She can't stand him.
Yeah, very much so. And when Blade turns around, he's like, What happened? Well, he moved.
Brutal.
Bitch.
I know. Fat,
you know what I mean?
fat lives matter, man. Fat
And
lives
to do.
matter.
Fat vampire lives matter.
You look big fat baby.
Despite his diet.
Indeed, yeah. UV radiation, gentlemen, if you want to buy a UV lamp, uvgear.co.uk sell a 72-watt blacklight LED radial lamp for $129.95, including VAT. Imagine how much jizz you'd see.
I was going to say that. Fucking Paul
I think John's got one on his mic by the looks of this.
I know. Just gives that, ooh.
Beneficial effects of UV radiation include the production of vitamin D,
Yes.
a vitamin essential to human health. Vitamin D helps the body absorb calcium and phosphorus from food and assists in bone development. The World Health Organization recommends 5 to 15 minutes of sun exposure 2 to 3 times a week, which explains why John is quite so pale, because he lives in Scotland.
I know. We get no sun. Fucking vampire city here.
It is. And another fun fact, my mum is still one of the only people in Northern Wales with a sunbed. Do you know one of them that go over the actual bed?
What?
Oh, really?
With the
Go on,
tubes?
Wow.
She still bloody loves it. She's brown as you like.
Does she look like Madge out of
Yes.
Benidorm?
but more Jewish. Oh yeah, she is brown. She's raisined.
Oh, that's a raisin detra. That's fine. That's something. I don't know. There's some scurrying around here, and Blade finds them. It's a girl.
Yeah.
Now, I absolutely didn't get this. Because there's not enough of it. So this little tiny woman who looks like the one that was hiding behind the mirror in that Willy Wonka thing.
The unknown.
It's
the unknown.
It's the unknown, children.
Give away.
Yeah. So she, and it's kind of like, oh look, she's a little girl, and then all of a sudden she gets kung fu fighting.
She
Nice,
basically becomes a Power Ranger. She's like
She very much
kicking,
does.
and she's like,
Absolutely.
she's not even named. She's not even credited. It just says vampire girl.
Yeah.
What?
When Blade approaches her, he's distracted by Quinn and his kung fu goons, and the girl is Jackie Chan incarnate for some reason. They capture Blade, and Quinn explains that he grew a new arm. One of the goons grabs Blade's sword and gets his hand exploded when the nails
And starts
come out.
licking his
I don't really
arm.
understand how that explodes a hand.
No, it wouldn't. It just,
He's licking the wet stuff.
It just like stick through your hand, wouldn't it?
Aye.
Yeah, I think it
But
would.
as we can see in this film, vampires are very squishy.
They're very.
They
very-
are super squishy vampires. Quinn takes on one of Blade's silver stakes and slams him in the shoulder. Just then, there's an explosion and the wall comes in, and here's Whistler. Have I got you motherfuckers at a bad time? He's another good line. There's some really good one-liners.
There is.
He basically blows them all away with this fucking hand cannon, and Blade makes a run for it. Making their way into the subway tunnel, Whistler throws a bag bomb into the archive, which explodes the place. Blade and Karen dive past this subway train, and when Quinn jumps after them, he makes it. But the two goons get splatterhoused on the front of the train.
This is the bugbear of me, because Blade famously, the character itself, he's actually English, and then the move to New Orleans in the books. And in this film, it's based in New Orleans. New Orleans does not have an underground. Because
right.
it's already
Oh,
below
wow.
sea level, and it's
Yeah.
it's not very good, is it, to have an underground in a place that like floods all the time?
Floods on a regular basis. Yeah.
So it's weird. And also, this train had upwards of 80 carts, and this scene, it never stopped. It did not
Just kept
stop.
Yeah.
going, didn't it? It was an infinite train.
Yeah.
They were saying there was cardboard cuts in them, and I was like, "What's the point? You don't see anything."
It doesn't see nothing. It's all
No, I
CG.
didn't see
It's
a
all
thing.
CGI.
No, oh, good point. Blade and Quinn have a fight, which involves Quinn getting his face planed off this dog shit.
Brilliant, though.
1998
He got
CGI
Spider Man, didn't he?
Yeah.
Fucking
He did
Sandman.
indeed.
It's brilliant, though,
And
when
he
you think
loses
about
his
it.
arm again. As they're cornered by vamps, Blade grabs Karen and then the back of the tube train, and they basically subway to safety, don't they?
Yeah.
How are them two not dead?
In the carriage, Blade has a dislocated arm. She repays the favour from earlier by fixing it. He then takes his medication. She's like, "You're one of them, aren't you?" "No, I'm something else." Whistler explains that he found Blade as a teenager. This is when they're back in the train yard. He found Blade as a teenager living on the streets. His mother was bitten by a vampire before she gave birth, causing him to have genetic changes. He can withstand garlic and silver, and he heals quickly. Yeah. But he also inherited the thirst, and his body is rejecting the serum.
And he does age, doesn't he, like a human? That's the problem. And
yeah, he does.
Whistler's worried about that because he's not going to be here forever.
Yeah. Karen asks why Whistler hunts them. He says they killed my family after toying with them. He says they kill as many as they can, but Frost is making changes. We're just not sure what he's doing.
Do you do future spoilers on this show?
Yeah, sure.
Because in Blade 3, he's got a daughter. Whistler's got a daughter in Blade 3.
Aye. Whistler's daughter.
It's what's her
Jessica
name?
Garner.
Aye, God.
Jessica Biel.
Biel, that's it.
Yeah, Jessica Biel.
And so he's got a daughter. So he's lying. He's straight up lying.
Well, if we're going to spoil it, I was going to say Morbius was the original choice for the villain in the second one.
He was.
Instead
of Novak or whatever he's called.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that second film's so good,
best one,
isn't it?
It's the best one.
Yeah.
Guillermo del Toro, that's why.
It's my favourite.
I went to the cinema to see the third one, and I just remember just being so disappointed.
It lets you down, doesn't it?
Fun fact on the third one as well, that Wesley Snipes refused to come out of his trailer for most of it. That's why Ryan Reynolds is the star of that one.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Right, do you know what? I am going to watch them all again.
Don't watch the third one, mate. Don't bother.
No, I am.
For the CGI eyes?
It's basically it's a Deadpool film. It's just Deadpool.
He refused to put in the contacts. Anyway, that's another film. Refused to put in the contacts and they CGI'd in.
And if you watch Blade 2, you'll realise how fucking much better it is than this one.
Yes, it is. But this is,
it's great.
This opens it. It's good.
Yeah, first crack.
It's like Spider-Man versus Spider-Man 2.
Exactly.
Spider-Man 2 wouldn't happen if it wasn't for Spider-Man.
True.
Yeah. Just happy to pay the bills, Otto.
It's just character development, really, isn't it?
That's it. Karen approaches Blade. She tells him she knows what he is, and he's not having any of it. I'm not human. Humans don't drink blood. Every time I take out one of those monsters, I get a little bit of my life back. Back at Frost, Quinn says he wants to take Blade out after he took his hand again, but Frost wants him alive. In Frost's car, Mercury, who is not a character, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
She's got like 2 bits. There's like a bit at the beginning, a line here where she puts zinc block on him, and then the bit where she dies.
Is she Irish?
Nothing else.
Has she got an Irish accent?
No, she's I think Swedish actor or Norwegian or something like that. Yeah, Scandinavian actor. And Mrs. Not in this film. She's slathering him with this zinc block. Our episode on Tremors, listeners, if you want to learn about zinc block. And they get out the car on the beach, and they've got Dragonetti prisoner. Frost points to the sunrise, and Dragonetti starts to get, let's say, a little hot under the collar. He tells Frost he'll never be a pureblood, and he'll never rule. Frost takes a pair of pliers to his teeth, and they walk away as Dragonetti does the melty bloke from RoboCop.
It's not bad, but it's very stop motion, isn't it?
It is, and stop motion's fine. I think if they did stop motion stuff now, like the Mad God, it's perfect. The Mad God's a perfect film. For some reason, they're all dressed like they're taking part in the next round of Road Rash here.
I know. She's ready.
Yeah. on this scene as well, I did a little bit of Googling, like the science of vampirism or mythological vampirism. Do you know?
Okay.
The scientists, waste of scientists' time, but they stated that vampires wouldn't even be allowed out at full moon because of the UV radiation from the sun.
Oh, right.
So literally can only come out over. That's just why Scotland's so perfect for vampires.
Because we get none of that shit.
We get nothing.
No sunlight.
See when they say, lunar eclipse, like, right, we're not seeing that. Solar eclipse, we're not seeing that
it's
either.
crazy when you think about it, because that's all the moon is. It's just the UV's bouncing off the moon so we can see it. They wouldn't be allowed out.
Yeah, absolutely. Back at the archives, Frost throws a senior vampire dragon at his teeth and tells him he needs 12 volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
Back at Blade's place, Karen explains she's created a fluid containing EDTA, which is used to treat blood clots. She adds it to a sample of vampire blood, and it causes the jar with the blood in to explode.
Yep.
Thankfully, Blade's wearing fucking sunglasses, otherwise he'd have got his contacts taken out.
Oakley's, big man. He's Oakley's.
He's Oakley's, yeah.
Yeah, I got that down that there were Oakleys.
Oakley number 4s.
Yes.
Haematologists, boys, diagnose and treat patients with blood and bone marrow disorders. You might get a referral if you have anemia or low red blood cells, deep vein thrombosis, which is blood clots, leukemia, lymphoma, or multiple myelomas, which is cancers in your bone marrow, lymph nodes, or white blood cells. Cheery stuff. If you want a job in the NHS, which, good for you if you do, the basic salary ranges from £32,398 to £37,303. Once you start your specialty training in the NHS, you can expect to earn a salary of at least £43,923, which can increase to between £93,000 and £126,281 as a consultant. But you should be paid fucking triple that, because fuck the Tories.
Yeah. Fuck them.
Absolutely.
I was looking at a few years ago because my wife's a trained phlebotomist, which is drawing blood, not to drink.
Yeah.
Just
just a wee taste.
That's how you keep yourself young, though.
Yeah, it is, yeah. And the average salary for a phlebotomist, which is still an essential part of the NHS, is about 18 grand.
Jesus
What?
Christ.
So all these nurses that
She
come
might
in
as
and
well
take
stay at home with the kids.
all these nurses that come in and take your blood, that are extremely trained to not destroy your vein. By the way, get paid that
Bloody hell.
little. Get more at McDonald's.
Listeners,
You get a call centre?
yeah.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. Listeners, if you're if you're in the hospital, make sure you take some cash.
Yeah.
Folding cash, money cash, and just give them some cash.
Give them it.
Thank you very much. Here's a tip.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't take that. Yes, you fucking can.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
Yes, you can.
I'll just put it in a
Keep up
card.
the good work.
Put it in a card
Yeah,
with cash
yeah.
in it. They've got to have it then. It's a gift.
That's exactly it.
Just say,
Absolutely.
here's
There you go.
another withdrawal from me.
And walk out with your cape going,
Every day I love you. Listen.
One.
2 pints.
Two. Now I have 4 pints of human blood. There's again. Back
Film.
to the film.
We're having so much fun.
I know.
Oh, we are. Oh, isn't it fun?
Having fun.
Aren't you having a great time? So this, in reality, so she talks about this fluid, this EDTA, which is used to treat blood clots. In reality, an EDTA test is used to assess the function of your kidneys through a series of blood tests. EDTA refers to the name of the substance that you will receive by injection, and it contains a small amount of radioactive material.
Yep.
This allows it to act as a tracer, which will show the kidney functions.
Yep.
Right.
I got that.
Okay. That's me making the film more boring, listeners. Whistler heads off to his desk and starts coughing. Blade tells her that he has cancer. You have a lot of love for him. We have an arrangement.
What was?
Again,
Did you see what Whistler was drinking out of the bottle?
Oh,
Jack
Daniels.
Wonderland?
Which is officially the worst drink on the planet. We voted on our
Yes,
podcast.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Is that true?
I'd rather. I'd rather drink grouse.
It's not
Shite.
even whiskey. They like to lie. It's a liqueur. It's just. It's piss.
Yeah.
It's awful. But they've got a cool logo, so it
Yeah.
sells.
Your wife's American Noodles. She must swear by it.
She loves
Americans
it.
love
She
don't they?
fucking loves it. And Bud Light and stuff. Ugh.
Oh, I mean, at least she should be drinking Maker's Mark.
And
At least she should be drinking something.
Blue Ribbon, she likes that as well.
Yeah.
Pabst Blue
Oh,
Ribbon.
you love that, didn't you?
Again, more Blue Velvet references.
Well, they do that. They do it in Aldi now. So we're fucked.
Oh, do they really? I think
Gotta
Pabst
get away
Blue
from it.
Ribbon was the first product that we decided we were never going to cover again, wasn't it?
Yeah, because
We
we've
covered
done
it
it to
more
death.
than any other product.
It's awful.
Pabst Blue Ribbon and some sort of gun.
Have you tried it? It tastes like shit
yeah,
Fosters.
No, it's awful. Yeah.
And Fosters are
Jesus.
shit.
Shit. I don't think I can get any shit.
Oh, it can.
It's like Bud Light. I've got a case of 24 cans of
Can't
Bud Light
touch it.
in my shed. And it's not getting. Of course, it's not getting touched.
No.
I bought it for Christmas because we've got friends who like Bud Light.
Friends that
And I
got
thought
no
when
tongue.
They come round. Yeah. Well, they were once friends. And it's just not been drunk. Even they wouldn't have it.
Yeah, just don't.
Even the fire won't take
Don't
it. Like
drink Jack Daniels, listeners. Just don't do it. It's not cool. It's not clever. Have a tot of teachers instead. Fuck it.
that. Teachers.
Oh.
Jesus, there you go. Later, Whistler checks out her neck, and we learn that she has only a day or so left. He says, "For what it's worth, I'm sorry." She says, "You make it sound as if I'm already dead. You might as well be." Out in the street, Blade spots Frost across the road, zinc block of course, with a small child. He threatens to kill her if Blade tries anything. Frost explains the intent to learn Blade's secret, that vampires are a new race. They're basically humans plus.
Yeah.
He offers Blade a truce. Blade knows what they're up to, and he's trying to invoke the blood god. Frost, you're nothing to me but a dead vampire.
Yeah.
Blade fires 3 bullets at Frost, but they're not real bullets, these. If you look very carefully, they're the cartoon bullets out of Eddie Valiant's gun in Roger Rabbit.
So it was.
They look like dog
However,
shit.
it was bullet time before The Matrix.
Oh, so it was.
So it was 1 year before.
1 year before. And he also calls the
Jesus.
vampires Hominus nocturna at this one. So the new species. Which makes sense in a weird way. Like Homo sapiens in the dark. Latin, guys, come on. It's not a dead language.
I know, yeah.
Getting taught every day.
We're the new mutants, Charles. You should have killed us when you had the chance. Frost dives out the way and throws the girl like a spiraled American
Flings her into a bus stop.
right in front of this bus, and Blade has to decide whether he's killing Frost.
He kills
or
Frost.
saving
He
his
goes for
child.
Frost first.
Aye.
does.
Like, there we
He
go.
scoops her up just before the bus hits her.
Yeah.
And that's the last we see of that little girl. Back at HQ, we learn from Whistler and Karen that vampires drink blood because they can't make their own Haemoglobin.
Yep.
Which I think was the beer you were drinking earlier on in it, Oodles.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's Hobgoblin. Haemoglobin, Haemoglobin
boy.
is a protein in your red blood cells. Haemoglobin, boy, you got my cheese whiz. It's a protein in your red blood cells that carries oxygen to the body's organs and tissues and transports carbon dioxide from your organs and tissues back to your lungs. If a haemoglobin test reveals that your levels are lower than normal, it means you have low red blood cell count or anemia.
Yeah. Get to the doctors.
Yeah. If you can get an appointment. Karen's plan is to rewrite her own DNA and stop the turn. She doesn't think she can do. She doesn't think she can do the same for the Daywalker though, but she's going to try. Just then, a bunch of vampires show up and start shooting. Frost kicks Whistler almost to death and leaves him for Quinn to finish off. Next scene, Blade arrives and spots one of the goons Whistler managed to take out before finding Whistler's bloody body, barely alive, under this sheet. I don't know where they got the sheet from.
It's a bit of tarp, wasn't it?
Aye.
He explains Frost took Karen, that he's trying to start a vampire apocalypse, but Blade is the key. Frost needs the blood of the Daywalker. He is the chosen one. If Frost gets Blade's blood, there'll be armies of the undead. Whistler explains, I've been bitten and I need to finish myself off.
It's that death thing, innit? I'm going to die, might as well have a wank.
Might as well crack one off.
That's what hangovers are for, innit? Oh, I'm dying. Oh, might as well.
Blade gives him his gun and he tells him to walk away.
He don't just
See
give him his
Blade
gun,
walking
mate.
away.
He gives him his Mach 11 Uzi.
Oh, aye. This is going to be pretty.
And he just shoots it as if it's just a pistol. That'd have gone just on first
Like
pull.
a single, like a single bullet. Yeah.
His brain had just been splattered everywhere.
Blade. How'd you
Blade
put this
watches
on to semi?
Oh well, that's what he was. He said he went to finish
Yeah, he
himself off, so he must have had a semi already.
As if I mean, Blade had a few like Glocks on him anyway. Why don't you just give him a Glock? Just get a single
know.
shot.
Yeah.
It's
pistol.
not a bit more
No,
discreet.
have my Mach 11.
Date it properly.
Blade watches a VHS left for him with a video of the vamps taking Karen. On it, Frost tells them that they'll be waiting for him at Edgewood Towers, which I think is one of the opening scenes of Faulty Towers where they move the words around. We get a weapons montage of Blade making bullets with the EDTA and doing a bit of meditation.
Yeah.
You've already said, Oodles, that the meditation's he's a Buddhist.
Buddhist,
It's a
yeah.
huge part of it. But of course, Wesley is a Buddhist as well. You know,
Yes.
so everybody's a Buddhist.
Which fun fact with the new Blade that's coming? It's Mashallah Ali. He'll be an Islamic Blade in that.
Oh wow!
So they're changing
That's
it.
really
Well,
yeah,
that's it,
yeah, I love Marshall Ali so
I do.
much. He's
I
such
do.
a good actor.
But he said he's going to
So
bring his
really
religion into it, which makes sense for someone fighting like evil demons, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Blade, of course, is Blade meditates, and is a Buddhist, as is Wesley. But what Blade isn't is a tax evader. But Snipes is. Snipes
Just
didn't
the
file
ones,
taxes
man. It's just the
between
ones.
1999 and 2001, so technically 3 years, John. He ended up owing the government about $7 million US.
Bloody hell.
He really fucked his career up, that.
He did,
Yeah,
yeah.
it stalled.
He did 3
Big
years at McKean Federal Correctional Facility in Pennsylvania,
Yep.
which ironically is where Dracula might be from.
He didn't come back to it like he didn't come back as good as Robert Downey Jr. did he? He came back from the slammer.
There's time. There's still
It's time, yeah. Well, imagine if Blade's in the new Blade. Actually, Wesley Snipes is in it as well.
Well, my idea was, and I thought this was a great idea, have him as the new Whistler. Have Snipes
so
as
into
Whistler.
it.
They're not going to do that. They're
I'm
not going to
into
do
it.
it. That was why I thought it would have been great. They're probably going to have who was the man in the chair in that fucking those awful Expendables films.
Oh, it's.
I was going to say Mickey Rooney, but it's not Mickey Rooney.
Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke. Mickey Rooney would be much better in those Expendable films.
Mickey Rourke could
and
play-
also
he
not
could-
the oldest person in those films.
He could play Pearl, Mickey Rourke, with his face.
Oh god, it does look
He's
splattered, doesn't
falling off.
he? It looks like a
look,
bloody
yeah.
melted bloody Easter egg.
He looks like Cassandra out of Doctor Who, doesn't he?
Just stretched.
Yeah. It's not for this podcast.
No.
At Frost's hideout, he's taunting Karen. I'd like to see you happy. Is this the point where you offer to turn me? Well, it's that or a body bag. She says if he bites him, she'll just cure herself. She knows he's a mudblood because he has a scar. A born vampire would be able to regen that. He loses it at that.
He
Yeah.
don't
Tells
like
that
it.
he's going to invoke the vampire lord, and Blade's blood is the key. Just then, the guards tell Frost that Blade's here. We hear a lot of loud revving, and the SWAT guards hold back in Deacon's pad. And this bit of dialogue between him and Quinn is brilliant, so I've just written the whole thing down. Deke, I don't think you understand, man. This dude's fucking bad. He's he's had 20 guys around him. I was there, man. He's got shit he throws at you. Like the sword. Yeah. He's got the sword and shit. Exactly. Yeah, he can throw it in the air. Yeah, he's got that shit and he throws Frost. Catch it underneath. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, shut the fuck up. There's this whole kind of thing where they're just fucking the way Frost is mocking him by doing pretty much the same voice.
Yeah.
It's really good.
I like Stephen Dorff in
Blade-
this.
I know, so
Yeah,
yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I assume there's a reason he's not in more stuff because he's not great.
No.
Oh,
But he's comic booky.
I don't think he
bad guy.
does the big things. He does a lot of
He
independent
did
stuff.
True Detective, didn't he, as well?
Oh shit! I'd forgot
He
about
did do
that.
the big
yeah.
use.
He was
I think
good in
it's-
that.
Series 2.
They had to really
Three.
talk him into doing this.
Seriously, yeah.
He's good in that.
Frost orders a lockdown, and now we get this poor man's old boy corridor battle versus these two
not as
Native
good,
American
is it?
lads who get stuck in with the exploding staffs.
Yeah.
And he basically causes them to swell up like Raiden in Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah. I do like how when Wesley Snipes fights, and I've got the fact he does a lot of Aikido and Karate, which he is trained in real life. He does one of my favourite moves that they do in these martial arts, where they get on one knee and they get low and they start going for the legs.
Yeah, I like that.
Because if
a
I
lot,
was getting
yeah.
attacked,
I guess,
if you get him, I'm tall. You know what I mean? I'm 6'2". If you get in my legs, I'm down. I'm on my ass.
yeah.
It's clever.
I guess that gives you quite a wide base as well.
Yeah, and
doesn't
you've
it?
got
down.
your low centre of gravity.
steps.
It's
Yeah.
like it's what Steven Seagal wished he could do, but instead he just flips, he
Make
flips
Cannibal
people
Bond.
over.
By touching them. What?
Yeah, by touching. It's really cool.
In Frost's bedroom, Blade spots the computer with the ingredients for the vampire lord. Now, did you lads see what was on the screen at this
I
point?
saw a few names came through. There was some.
Okay.
He got the name of Blade himself, Eric Brooks.
Yeah.
That was on there. Because spoiler alert, his mum's in there.
Yeah.
I also got. Let me a second. God. Yes, the name Jura Grando was there. Have you heard of Jura Grando?
No.
Jura Grando is, on record, online, and everywhere I've ever looked, the first recorded vampire in history. 1578, known as a strigan in Croatia, the first ever recorded mention of the myth vampire.
Oh, excellent. Okay, nice one. Fantastic. Did you see the list that was on here, though? There was a massive list on the computer screen.
Was it names?
It was names. It was the last lot of patrons. So I saw it with my own eyes. We had Kieran, Jane, Adam, Megan, Dale, Ali, Maria, Ian, Emily, Nigel, Rachel, Jake, and Phil.
You're next.
Thanks for the money, and you got to feature in a fantastic movie from the year. Don't go back and look because you won't see it.
I remember seeing it because underneath it said highlighted scumbags, didn't it?
Yeah,
It did,
always picking shit films.
It said Stig's a prick.
It
yeah,
did,
is what
it
it
did.
said. Yeah,
It
it did. I saw it with my own eyes. Yeah. This coffin bed opens up and it's Blade's mum. She's like, "Hey up, duck."
She's fit though, isn't she?
Oh yeah, she's
Aye.
banging. And at some point they were going to kiss, and I was like, "Ooh,
It was a
what
bit.
about this?"
I'm not your
mean,
mummy anymore.
That's a Pornhub tab of its own.
I mean,
isn't
think
it?
of the time difference. When was it? Did it say 68?
1967.
No, she'd have been younger than him
Yeah,
by this point. So,
but she's now a gilf.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how these things work.
No, Bill.
A vilf, yeah, a vilf.
She explains that although she died, she came back that very night.
Keeps calling him
as a vampire.
Eric, doesn't she?
She does.
Yeah.
Frost goons turn up and electroshocks stick him to the ground. Deacon turns up and explains he was the one that turned his mother. Bum, bum, bum. Plot
He's
twist.
basically his dad.
In a way, in many ways.
Hey up, Dad.
Blade wakes up in the back of a truck with Karen, asking for the serum. She says if it works, he'll lose his super strength and his regenerative powers. He'll be completely human. They're pulled out of the truck and taken into one of the sets from The Mummy, which is a much worse film than this.
Way worse.
And this is the Temple of Eternal Night. Vampires had forgotten it existed, but he learned through the texts, obviously on his Nokia. He's also brought the Vampire High Council with them. They're going to be used to summon the Blood God. They don't look very happy about it, do they? They look well out of their element.
It's as if, when I watch it, as if they didn't believe in the God they were preaching. But as I said earlier, Erebus is the ancient god of the dark region of the underworld from Greek mythology, the son of Chaos and Nyx, and apparently the god that corrupted Hades to go up against his brother Zeus. So he's an absolute twat.
All right. Yeah, what a bad un.
A bugger.
What a
What's a bugger? You're a
rapscallion.
right bugger, you.
Yeah.
Deacon has Blade's sword and he's swishing it about, but before the knifey bits can go off, he presses a secret button and stops it because he can read, you see.
Yeah, you can read the glyphs.
He asks Quinn to hold out his arm and he goes to slice it off. He's like, "Oh, just kidding." Karen tries to get Blade's attention, but as Frost explains, he can't hear. The hunger has got to him, which we all know that feeling, lads, eh?
Oh,
Friday night,
hungry.
chippy tea,
Hungry.
nothing else
Cheesy
will do.
chips. Cheesy chips.
That's it, yeah. Absolutely. Parmo. No,
Oh,
nothing
yeah.
else will do.
Gagging.
Deacon grabs Blade's serum. What does it feel like? Is your blood on fire? He's like, "Try some. You might like it."
Yeah.
He says, "I prefer the real thing." And Frost throws the vials across the chamber, and we don't really see this, but they land
In a
like
cre-
hooks on a
in a
bit, don't
in a
they?
crevice.
Yeah, in a
Yeah.
crevice.
Oh,
Yeah,
like
halfway
he gets
up-
vialed
halfway
in
up
his
the tower.
crevice.
It's weird.
The goons take Blade out, and Deacon has the Vampire Council led downstairs. He pushes Karen into the Rancor pit from Return of the Jedi,
It does.
which is full of bones and shit, as well as Curtis, who for some reason has now got this Lily von Stupp accent.
Yeah, he talks like this. He's like, "Karen!" He sounds like the guy from Independence Day. Like, "Get my lawyer." It sounds like, what's his name?
Oh god, I have it as
Harvey Firestein.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Feinstein.
Yeah, just a little
Fuck my
bit.
lawyer.
Make me a woman. Oh, I'm so happy.
Yes. Just gives him a Brooklyn accent.
She cripples him with a bone fragment before using a further bone fragment to climb out of the
And he's
pit.
going,
Yeah.
"Karen!
Which
Karen!"
doesn't make any sense whatsoever. In the ceremonial chamber, Blade is stripped and strapped into this big black thing from 2001: A Space
I tell you what,
Odyssey.
he's in shape though, isn't he,
fucking
old Snipes?
Oh,
Oh
aye.
yeah, he looks.
Good
Yeah,
God,
he's not
ripped.
got a neck.
And he hasn't got a neck,
Ripped.
he's just beef.
He hasn't got a neck. His mum explains to him that sooner or later, the thirst will always win. We know that feeling, lads. don't we?
Yeah.
do.
She clicks a button like this, but she stands on this button. It's such a good place for a button.
It is.
And he's basically in a massive obelisk maiden, isn't he?
Yeah.
His blood begins to drain out of it as the council members are all lined up below. The blood begins seeping through this marble ceiling. A few members of the council are taunting Mercury. You'll die too. She murders one. She's not to be trifled with, and that's only the second thing she does in this film.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in the blooding chamber, which I've called it, Karen removes Blade from the Stone Maiden and explains he's dying, that he has to take some of her blood. So he does, long and hard. It's like the hottest thing in the film. The goons are holding the head vampires under the blood dripping from the chamber above, forcing them to be covered in Blade's blood. Deacon stands in the middle and does the same. Lightning randomly hits the building, and each of the members of the council get shocked by lightning, and it's basically got them in its grasp. Including, by the way, did you spot Orson Welles' vampire?
Yes, I did.
The French champagne!
He was blood drunk on this one.
He was blood drunk. This is the French champagne.
I also looked into this this kind of blood ritual, and it's called blood menstruation, and it's a known druid thing that they used to do and have people in some kind of above chamber and have it drip on their head. It's ridiculous.
What?
It's utterly ridiculous.
Yeah.
Blade fights his mum and ends up running her through with a bit of stabby.
And that's how my mum's going to go as well.
Is she not going to end up burning up on her on a Sunday?
I'm going to fight her in Anglesey. Running through them swords.
It's a beautiful location. Why not?
Yeah.
The lightning illuminates the chamber and causes the members to all erupt into skeleton vampires.
They fly out like Jason and the Argonauts or something like that.
Yeah,
it's
stop
very
motion
much
again.
Yeah.
like the Gremlin, the Bat Gremlin.
The Bat Gremlin,
out of Gremlins
yeah.
2, the new batch. Yeah. Second week on the trot, we've mentioned that, I think.
I know. Might need to
It's a
actually
good
do it.
film. New patch is
It's
good.
a lot of fun.
It's got Hulk Hogan in
It's
it.
a lot of fun. It's basically a cartoon. It's
It
a
is.
cartoon, but with actual people in it. Just then, Blade arrives and does this brilliant superhero landing. Quinn screams, "I'll kill you! I've two perfectly good hands. I just need to know which one to use." And as he runs at him, Blade just decapitates him. As he
With
burns
cheese
up,
wire.
his Oakleys fly out the air and he grabs them and puts them on. Really good.
Aye.
He then spends about 5 minutes taking on multiple goons who only run at him one at a time.
It's good choreography though when it actually happens.
It is great choreography.
And that's all Wesley
One
Snipes. That.
geezer. Is it really?
Yeah, I double checked.
Wow, fantastic. There's one chap, he literally rips the throat out with his hand.
And hit somebody with it.
Yeah,
I'd say other than that scene in Demolition Man in the museum, this is one of his best choreographed films. However,
I think so.
I think I don't know if it's Blade 1, 2 or 3. He does a full Nelson suplex on a guy, and I think it's 2 actually. And
I remember that.
Wesley Snipes' face, he is literally lifting a man. He's going,
Right.
and he flings him, and it smashes all over that, like, do you know that fake glass? It's so incredible.
Oh yeah, I
And
remember
he did it in
that,
one
yeah.
take,
Jesus.
and it looks
Wow.
like
You don't want
he's
to do that
picking
twice.
a bloke up. It's insane.
Jesus.
Meanwhile, Karen's shooting 5 shotgun bullets at running Mercury and hits a pillar every single time.
Yeah.
When it would be easier to hit nothing.
Yeah, it's a harder shot
Like
to
she's
do.
literally just aiming. Yeah, she's aiming for the pillars. Mercury lunges at her. I'm really going to enjoy this. Teeth bared. And Karen vampire maces her in the gob.
Yeah.
And her head just explodes.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's a pretty good ending for a non-character.
Yes.
Blade's out of goons that are dressed like Harry in Home Alone. So instead he does a sword fight with Frost until he takes off his hand and then cuts him in 2. But Frost, as his body's lifting up, metabolises blood to make him a long boy.
Yeah.
He looks like your man Stellan Skarsgård out of Dune.
He does, doesn't it?
A stomach of blood that pulls his body parts back
It
together.
still looks
Creates
very
new
lawnmower
hands.
man though.
Yeah, well, the hand did. I thought the long body looked good.
It's better than the alternative version of this. I don't know if you looked into it. There was going to have a full CGI blood cloud La Magra,
Yeah,
and
it would have just looked like.
and it looked horrendous. Apparently,
Yeah.
it's on the DVD.
They didn't even
it's
like
on,
it at script level.
It's on the DVD. You can actually watch the whole thing, and it's just you can't see Wesley Snipes. You can't see him, and it's just this
I
like
bet it
blood
just looked
cloud.
like
Yeah,
your man, the Spawn
yeah.
devil.
Oh,
It would have just
aye.
looked like that, wouldn't
Spawn.
it? Just
Yeah.
like dog shit. We fight some more, and Frost looks like he's on top when Blade throws his sword at the hanging vials of synthetic blood. It sticks in the crack in the wall just below them, and when the handle does the sticky thing, he's able to catch the synth stuff. I love this bit, by the way. He throws them all, like his best bullseye job, doesn't he? At Frost, and they stick in his body, and none of it works. Frost's like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. Then he holds up the last one, throws it up in the air, and utters the immortal line, Oodles.
Some motherfucker's always trying to ice skate uphill. It's so good.
Throws it, and when it's coming down, roundhouse kicks it into his forehead.
The best one-liner in Marvel Cinematic history.
Yeah, it's great. He turns into Mr. Blobby, and he explodes.
And the day is saved.
Karen and Blade leave the chamber, and outside she tells him he has to go back. She has to go back to the lab and cure Blade. He basically says, "You want to help? Make me a better serum. There's a war going on." And do you know anything about the alternative version of this scene, by the way?
Didn't Blade just get killed? Didn't he just get...
No. No. There's like an extra 5 seconds at the end where after they've done all those lines, they're about to walk away.
And she blows up.
She spots up on a rooftop Dr. Michael Morbius.
Oh, is that it? Oh,
yeah. If you go on YouTube, there's somebody has videoed a TV with the thing on. It looks like dog shit, but that's meant to be. It was
the
almost
living vampire
time 26 years ago, listeners.
Jesus.
That's insane.
We then move to a final scene in Moscow, the Red Square. A vampire attacks a woman baring his teeth, but Blade's there. Caught you in a bad time, comrade, which obviously is taking on the Whistler line.
Yes.
He draws his sword and credits. It's so good, isn't it?
It's so good. Fun? It's funky. It's just adrenaline from start to finish.
It is adrenaline, yeah. Right, Oodles, as you're the guest, any more facts before we finish?
Blade created by Marv Wolfman and Gene Colan. What else we got? Blade Universe Vampirism is... it's got many plot holes. It's either... There's 2 versions of vampirism in the Blade Universe and the Marvel Universe. It's either a virus or the dark gift from the Blood God himself. What else have I got? The pink explosive gunk that he uses.
Yeah.
That's known as nitrogen triodide. It's real and it's used in films mainly due to its distinct colour and explosive pop. It's not very good for practical usage. Silver nitrate is also would be harmful to vampires because for some reason it helps humans in real life due to it helping the blood clot. Which is not what vampires would want, would they? They want the blood clot in.
No, absolutely not.
No, chunky blood.
I think I've got one more. Yes, there's 2 aliens and alien references in this film. Did you catch them at all? The elevator door to Pearl's thing is the bulkhead from the Nostromo, and the bed of Blade's mum that lifts up is the noise from the pods from the Sulaco in Aliens.
Oh, wow.
They deliberately put that in.
Fantastic.
They deliberately put that in.
I'm going to have to watch those bits again because I love Aliens.
And the final one, it's the first Marvel film since the release of Howard the Duck.
Oh, right. Wow. Yeah, nearly killed Marvel.
Yes, they didn't want to do it because they did Fantastic Four, but they never released it because it was a tax write-off.
Oh, it's atrocious.
But you can get it.
Corman film.
You can get it.
The documentary about it's good, but it's about half an hour too long. Yeah. Right. Okay. Fantastic, mate. Thank you, John.
Jet Li was offered the part of Frost, but he turned it down to do Lethal Waiting 4. Blade's first appearance in the comic book was the Tomb of Dracula in 1973. The car was a 1968 Dodge Charger. What the? Forgetting all these things? A 1968 Dodge Charger. And the first known reference of a vampire appeared in written text. I think it's Old Russian in 1046 AD.
Yeah, and they also had the Japanese jumping vampires before BC, before the birth, but they didn't call them vampires. And if you Google Japanese jumping vampires, it's the best half hour you can have in your life.
All right, okay.
Basically frogmen, vampires.
The director, Stephen Norrington, SFX motherfucker, worked on special effects for Aliens, and next week's episode, John, Split Second.
Are you doing Split Second?
Gahawa. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we're going back. We're going back to the Thames, big man. Going back to the Thames.
He's just as famous for what he was attached to that didn't happen. Blade 2, he was going to do.
Right.
He turned it down. Wow. A Shang-Chi film.
Wow.
In the early 2000s.
Right.
And a live-action Akira film.
Oh, I'm glad they didn't do that.
Mate,
me
he's
too.
famous for something more than that.
What, retiring from acting because he was upset by Sean Connery?
Well, Sean Connery giving up acting because of him, apparently.
Yes.
He's a fucking
Well,
lunatic.
they both
Big feud.
claimed that they've given up the work
Because of each
because
other.
of how the other treated one another. Yeah, absolutely. Oodles, how many do you think we got while I count them up?
Well, I alone got 50, so I reckon we got 100. Bang on.
Okay, John, higher.
122.
Oh, John, too high. You spunked it again. 114.
114. I'm happy with that.
What?
But here's the good news, Oodles. You've got us out of our dry run because it's been it's probably been a month since we got
listen.
longer.
I've lubed you
Since
up.
we got.
Aye,
Indeed, you've lubed us up and bladed in us or something.
Stuck a steak in us.
I could have gone even deeper with the Marvel stuff, but I kind of omitted loads of it because it's boring.
Yeah, and that's the key. And that's the key thing. Sometimes it's about making it a bit more interesting.
Yes.
Right, Oodles, do you want to tell us once more where listeners can get you? Because they really should, because you are one of my favourite podcasts and the podcast I pay the most money to.
Yeah. You can find us.
But it's still great value. Still
It
great
is.
value.
Find everything we do at modernescapism.co.uk. We've just left it simple.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
Do you know what I'm starting next week, Oodles?
What?
I'm starting my 3 months backlog of Do Dragons Dream of Scorched Sheep.
Mate.
Because I always leave massive blocks.
Do you know we've only got
of
about
Dragons Dream of Scorched
8
Sheep.
episodes left of that?
Oh, don't say that.
We're going to do it again. We're
Don't
going to do a
say
different team.
You should. You absolutely should.
bad.
I'm
It's
sorry.
mad.
Look how
It's mad
upset he
that
is. Look at his wee upset face.
He's a
I
right
know,
nerd.
yeah,
He's a
because-
nerd, him, John. He's a nerd.
I know. Mate, that's why I don't hang
Proper
about with him.
virgin. Proper virgin, that
Very
lad.
much. I am, man. I've never. You ever kissed a girl, son? Anyway. Yep, so if you like what we do, again, please go to 100 things we learn from film.co.uk. Follow us all over the socials. Give us a quid. You two could get the chance to, or you two will get the chance to vote for the episode that we do in April, which is coming in the next week or so.
Which will be Blade 2.
Next week.
Oh,
Yeah,
I wish.
Next week, of course, is the final episode of Monster March, even though it's probably going to go live at the beginning of April, but fuck you. We do what we want. We will be talking Rutger Hauer with our good friend Paul Payne on Split Second.
can't
John, say something nice to the lovely people.
Oh, something nice, but no, I'm really looking forward to Split Second. And thanks for all the feedback for the 3 shows. I've had a few people coming to me and saying they're really enjoying the smaller episodes, so let's cut this
the
one
shorter
into 2.
episodes.
Aye, so.
Yeah.
No,
Not this one, then.
I was going to say, let's cut this one into 2.
Sorry, my bad.
Cut my episode in 2 pieces.
I do feel as if some of the ones we have more fun on are the longer ones, but...
Yeah, some of the ones we have more fun on are when Oodles is on them. Just say it, mate. It's fine. He's got broad shoulders. He'll be all right. He's a big lad.
And his wife's a phlebotomist.
Yes. No, just on weekends. Oodles again, mate. Thanks very much for joining us.
More than welcome.
It's been super. And listeners, he's been Oodles. He's been John. I've been Planty, and this has been 114 things that we've learned from Blade.
Bass in the place.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.